Hello everyone. COVID-19, stress, online lectures, students' well-being. Most of us are students and the media has been talking about this topic for 2 years now, so it's probably quite familiar to you. But have you ever happened to think how everything has been experienced on the other side of the table? Or should I say on the other side of the screen? The title of our survey is The Effects of Stress on Teachers of University of Ljubljana Caused by the COVID-19 Pandemic. The aim of our survey was to investigate the relations between the exchange to distance education and the stress experienced by teachers. Let's go through our four hypotheses.
Our main hypotheses were teachers experienced considerable work-related stress during the COVID-19 pandemic. Women experienced more work-related exhaustion than men. Stress caused by the COVID-19 pandemic negatively affected the teachers' quality of work. Nevertheless, a significant proportion of teachers have experienced more positive feelings such as opportunity and success than negative ones such as failure and threat during their working in COVID-19 pandemic.
Our first hypothesis was about how teachers experience considerable work-related stress during the COVID-19 pandemic. Most of teachers experience significant amount of stress. Exams were the most stressful for them. As cheating was the most common reason why exams were the most stressful. Furthermore, most of teachers believed that their students were cheating, and this also took them more time to prepare for exams, as well as more possibilities to cheat caused them more stress. In accordance with the previous studies that were explained in our theoretical part and our findings, we were able to confirm our first hypothesis. Now, let's go to the second one.
Our second hypothesis focused on differences between the genders and their correlation to stress. We thought that the pandemic may have had a bigger impact on stress in women in comparison to men. Through statistical analysis with the use of t-tests, we have found that gender didn't play a big role in neither mental health nor exhaustion. Since the differences were so insignificant, which was also confirmed by a number of other research papers, our second hypothesis was disproven. To continue with our third hypothesis, it explored whether the stress caused by the COVID-19 pandemic had any negative effects on the teacher's quality of work. The majority of all participants felt like their quality of teaching had slightly decreased during the pandemic, at least in comparison to their teaching before COVID-19. However, as we can see here, that was not due to the use of technology, since many claimed that technology had little to no effect on their teaching. In contrast, this figure right here shows that the lack of physical contact with the students caused most of the participants significant amounts of stress and consequently also negatively affected their teaching. Using the data from previously done surveys which correlated with the results of our own survey, we could therefore confirm this hypothesis. And now, onto the final one.
So here we can see all the statistics done on different questions. For example, we have sex, age. Well, that sounded boring. Anyway, our fourth hypothesis talked about whether teachers experienced positive or negative feelings due to COVID-19. Surprisingly, and in opposition to other papers, we found that teachers felt more positive feelings, or more specifically, feelings of opportunity. But this could be explained by the fact that we were basing our research around teachers. We also looked at what lecture type teachers preferred, and this could contribute also to stress. We found that the most stressful lecture type for teachers was hybrid form. However, they also reported their stress lowering with more experience in using different forms of teaching. This must have persisted, as most of them answered that they would use hybrid or online lecture delivery, even if only partly. This points back to the feeling of opportunity mentioned before. I hope you found this useful, if at least as a guide of how not to stress out your teacher.